Good afternoon. It's September the 17th at 4:30. This is the Tourism Board of Sumner County. I am Mary Janung. I'm County Commissioner, and I am the co-chair, and I'm filling in for David Staples, who's not here today. I'd like to call to order everyone here. We have Deborah Holmes is absent. She's in another meeting. Ms. Govan is not here, and I think that's it. But anyway, I'd like to have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, approval of the minutes. I'd like a motion for approval of the minutes. Any questions or concerns?
Do we have one here, one set of minutes or two?
Two.
Should have two, right?
There are two.
I will abstain from September's minutes.
Okay.
I'll move to accept both.
Okay. Anyone else want to make a second on
I'll
that?
second.
Two second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Anybody here for public comment? No, he's not.
May I get your name for record, sir?
Oh, I'm sorry, it's Eric, E-R-I-C, Janicki, J-A-N-E-C-K-E.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
In the old business section, we're now at confirmation bylaws. Revisions are completed, and Shannon, it looks like you will be presenting that. Were you?
Oh, I didn't know that until I saw the thing, but yes, the revisions are completed,
Okay.
and I emailed those to the board when I got them from the law office
Okay. So do we need to
in
vote?
August.
Are you ready to be approved, ma'am?
I just wanted to ask if I could get a copy of those for record.
You
did you
should
get
have them in your
Did you get
email,
them?
but I can send another, I'll email them to
I
you.
haven't received them.
Remind me.
Okay, thank
Did
you.
anybody have any questions about them do we need to go ahead and approve them?
I think technically we approved them last,
I think we approved them
July
pending
meeting. Pending
change.
the,
Mhm.
pending the typos and
Yeah.
stuff.
Mhm.
So that was all
Minor
fixed, and
changes.
so we're
Yes.
good? Okay.
Yeah.
So we're good there. Okay. So under new business, we have a header for Zoom meetings for special called and ad hoc meetings. I'm not clear what this is, but,
Were you here?
I wasn't here last
Okay.
time.
So the issue was that special called meeting a month ago took us 5 minutes,
If that long.
if
Yeah.
that
It
long.
was 8 minutes.
8 minutes,
It was
wow.
8 minutes. Yeah, it really was. It was 8
So
minutes.
the issue was that for special called meetings, which don't require an agenda to be presented in advance and are just to vote on things.
Special call has to be,
But
yeah,
usually they're just for one item.
one item, and
Yeah.
it has to be advertised.
No, in our bylaws, we changed it to only on the tourism site because we are a 501c6.
Okay.
But we also, in the bylaws, removed Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
So the issue was because that meeting took us 8 minutes, there was a motion to discuss whether something like that, which was just for a vote, could be done via Zoom.
I think.
And the
for
attorney's
us-
office was gonna check on that.
Yeah. we
Okay,
can
and-
certainly do
yeah.
that, yeah.
Which is fine, that's just what the discussion was, so we
We-
can just push
I-
that to next
We can push
meeting.
that to old business, and that way we can review it
Mhm.
again after we get our
After we get
version.
feedback from legal.
Yeah, and then the next thing is paper or digital documents for meetings. What was that about?
I have no idea.
It was about this?
These,
Oh,
or do we
the-
just send it electronically in advance, or do you want a paper copy
Well,
available?
the only thing is, and this is my comment, that, I'm a paper person, but I read your stuff online. However, there may be people here that want a copy. I wouldn't print so many of them. I mean, the way it happened in chamber was that she went around and asked everybody, you want paper, or you just, because it's a big packet.
Mhm.
Or do you want to just have it on the computer? People did what they did, and some people get the packet, and some people don't. They use their computer. I personally, I can print my own out, but then again, there may be people here in the audience or that come would like to see it, so that's the only suggestion I have, is maybe print 5. I wouldn't print a dozen of them.
When you emailed, I read it, but that was, what, 2 weeks ago?
Mhm.
So I can barely remember what happened yesterday. So it's nice for me to have a paper copy even though I've read it.
I'm with
Yeah.
paper. I like the paper copies, but also open meeting laws requires that we have a few extra of everything. So you could just make enough for
For the members.
the board
and-
members, so you've got
Okay.
or in yourself. So if you make, I don't know how many copies you're making now, as a rule.
Oh, well, I made 20 because
Oh,
I wasn't
okay.
sure.
Yeah.
My question, because I am new,
Mm-hmm.
are these available to the audience?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's public.
If they
record.
ask.
If they ask,
Uh-huh.
it's available
So
for
probably ought to
public.
have one for each member,
You want one?
the attorney and each of you,
Uh-huh.
and then
Oh,
maybe
here.
And
one or
that's
2
why,
extras.
okay, and that's why I'm
Here.
putting 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got some here.
Oh, okay, sorry.
So we're gonna do members and then a couple for the,
Extras.
because you can make copies here, I think.
Or we can give up a copy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've worked on with other people
Share.
before. We
Yeah.
Yeah,
ran out of
So we will
copies.
continue with the paper.
yeah.
We just wanted to know.
All right. And then, any questions on that, any more of that? No? Okay. Director's report.
All right. I'll try and move quickly through this. At the Comer House, we did have some damage due to windstorms. We reported that to you. The total cost to us so far has been around $700. We don't feel like that was sufficient to make an insurance claim because we have a $5,000 deductible. So we just did the repairs and everything's back to normal, I think, at this point. And talking about the museum, we are meeting with Sumner County Museum, and they are open to sharing some of their collection that's in storage with us to display at the Comer House to help make it more of a welcome center. And that's in the works. At this point, they have to go through their board for a variety of things, and so we're just kind of going through that process, but we're looking forward to that. Once we do have anything on display in our building, we would qualify for the grant from the state of Tennessee for museums.
Okay.
And that might help us have a little extra funding to repair the building
Yeah.
as needed for cosmetic repairs. We have several trees that are diseased and at risk of damaging the building. We've had 3 different companies come out and give us bids and assessments of what could and might happen. And we've identified what we think is the one we want to use. The price tag on that was $16,000.
How many trees?
There's 115, 3, 116.
Yeah, they would have to remove 2 complete trees, and then they're gonna trim up quite a few others.
It's expensive.
But the problem is, if those trees go down, they will take part of the building with them.
Are those in the back?
Yeah, one
Or
is
the
right by
ones in
the
the front?
parking area, and the other one's on the other side, kind of out for the Oval Office, we call
Who
it.
are your bids with?
Do you remember the name of that one?
Mid-Tennessee Tree Service, Tree Giants, and Affordable Tree Service.
Yeah. The 2 that we like the most are arborists, and so they know what they're doing, whereas the other one is more of just a worker. And we like the arborist, and they also agreed to, within that contract, treating the disease for carpenter ants, which seems to be a problem we have there. Now, our intention is to approach Rogers Group, since it's their building, and say, do you want us to save the building or let them go? Because I think that would be more of their, that's
Yeah, 'cause
not,
that's their property, right?
that's their property, and this is not normal maintenance.
Right.
So-
Maybe they would pay for that.
And-
Hoping.
And that damage that was on the front was from where a limb had hit that.
Is
The-
it?
Oh, I'm sure, because that tree hangs the front porch.
Yeah. Well,
So you're not thinking what I did not already think
which is?
when they had the damage to the front of that house, that the
Oh,
trees
yeah.
needed to, and you've got hackberries too there.
Mhm.
And the bigger they are, the more.
Which are notorious for falling down.
Yes,
Yes.
they are. And the hackberry aphids too. Did y'all have trouble with those?
Those
we've
little
had-
white snow
Mhm.
rings.
Yeah, some,
Yeah.
yeah, not too bad, but,
Mm-hmm.
so anyhow, there's a whole long list of what they think needs to be done. In fact, they went around spray painting all our trees, they're all marked now. But, we will approach Rogers Group, we just want the board to know that we're gonna do that. And I'll report back as to what they say.
Okay.
So moving on to Bull Creek Dock, really where this is at is the Army Corps of Engineers, you want me to stop?
I just wanted to let you know, insurance board today told me to let everybody know. The county does not carry any insurance on Bulls Creek Dock, but it's up to the tourism board to carry the insurance on it.
Which we do,
Okay, they just wanna make sure you knew that.
yes.
And I will add to that, I was in the law office today, and he said although we voted to accept to carry on the contract,
Mhm.
Eric Sittler has yet to hear anything back from the Corps of Engineers.
Right, and that's,
But-
I can address that here.
Okay, good.
Basically, we were offered this kayak dock as a gift, free installation, free dock, by a gentleman that is very well known on the lake there by the Army Corps and others, and he's quite the character. After going back and forth with the Army Corps in a very cooperative method, they said they don't think it's a good idea because there's no base to the kayak dock. It's just, if you can picture a small boat dock with parallel piers, but there's nothing to rest the kayak on. So if you ever try to get into a kayak just in water, there's the risk of tipping. And so they felt like really we're increasing our risk there by having that type of dock, and they recommended against it. So I said, done deal, we're not gonna accept it. So, as a result of those conversations, the gentleman at the Army Corps of Engineers, whose name is Jacob Alders, is gonna recommend a longer-term lease instead of it's like an annual renewal that we're doing right now. Because we're having to renew this like all the time and do it, instead of a short-term license agreement,
Oh,
he
and
wants
here
to
it
do a
says,
lease agreement.
he renewed it, okay.
So he hasn't presented that to us yet, but that was his recommendation, so I told him to go ahead and get that together and bring it to us.
That's a good idea.
Okay?
Yeah, I think our boat dock, we renew it every 5 years.
I think it's 5, yeah.
Yeah. 5 years.
Yeah, it'd be a lot less work for us. Going on to the Douglas Clark House, I just wanted you to be aware of what we're doing there. We have our new tour guide, Linda, who is just amazing, actually. And you'll see I've included here some samples. She found these letters in the state archives from the boys during the Civil War that were not part of the collection out there. And she's continuing to do research when she doesn't have groups going through. And I just included those. I've got more if you want to see them, if this interests you, but I just thought that was the neatest thing, that we're still finding new things related to the
Look at the
Douglas Clark House.
cursor of their handwriting. Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah.
I must have Miss Thompson like I did.
Okay, so we did have Andrew over there, did reach out. He did a school group recently away from the Douglas Clark House to present to them as an outreach program. And I did get notice one day recently, we had over 40 tours in one day.
Wow.
Yeah, so it comes and goes, but we'll take it. We're proud of that. So moving on to marketing, we are very close to installing our AI Travel Buddy to our website. We're just waiting for final approval on some of the money coming from ARP and other grants. And those have just come in, so we're in a position now that we can move forward with that. We are working with the U.S. Department of Commerce to internationalize the website, which means that it's easier access for people that are not United States. For instance, if you have a Canadian zip code and we have a zip code field in there that only takes 5 digits, you're out of luck. This makes it, so they're doing an assessment to tell us where we have spots there that need to be improved, so people from the international market can come in here.
And that's just a review, that would not include any programming changes.
Right,
then.
we would do the changes, it's
Okay.
because we can handle that in-house. It's
Okay.
$100 is what they're charging us for
It's
this.
nothing.
And we thought it was worth it. I recently also, this is not in the report, but last week I went to a Southeast Tourism Conference down in Auburn, Alabama, and the Department of Commerce was represented there as well. And we talked extensively about, as I was telling you, identifying the markets of people that have settled this area, like Scotland and Ireland, and actually working with U.S. government to target those markets for international travelers, because they tend to come to where their people settled. Just like you went to Ireland to check, or Scotland to check it out. And I've been to Ireland doing the same thing. So, interesting. Anyhow, so we're doing a lot of work there. We're not spending any money on it because international travel is not our big market, but there's a potential for it. We have got, Zydeco is up and running, and we actually have a training meeting with them tomorrow. I have included in your packet the latest Zydeco kind of dashboard that you can look at and see some data. My goal for the future is not to just throw data at you, but to actually give you the story behind it. So hopefully in future meetings, I'll be able to tell you kind of really what you're looking at. But as of today, I just wanted to include that for you. This is an election year, and because of election years, people experience what's called advertising saturation. Therefore, we do see that cost of advertising and traditional media buys are more expensive, harder to get, and so we're paying attention to that as we are not out spending a lot of money on print media or anything else. It's just the nature of this year. And travel tends to be down in every election year as well, which we're seeing, although Sumner County hopefully is up. I am meeting with the Multi-County Tourism Alliance, which includes, if I can get all the county, Chatham County, is that what?
Cheatham.
Cheatham County. I always get that on. Robertson County and somebody else. And anyhow, they had their second quarterly meeting. We met out at the Springfield-Robertson Airport. And it's in the early stages of perhaps becoming one of the recognized DMOs for the state tourism. Right now, we are part of the Greater Nashville regional DMO, but they really don't do anything outside of Nashville. So our hope is to maybe, as we create a northern ring around Nashville, that we unite as counties and make an effort to draw visitors out of Nashville to our counties.
Was it Montgomery?
Yes.
Yeah, Clarksville.
Montgomery, yeah. And I also got to know several of those people at the conference last week, so that is going well. Moving on to finance, everything is balanced and current. We've reconciled all our accounts. We're not backwards anymore. We did submit an RFP for a financial audit to I listed out all those agencies. Not one responded. So we are going to go back to at least John Poole, who was aggressively pursuing our business at the beginning and did our last audit, and at least ask him why he didn't respond. Find out if there's something we did wrong or if we scared people away, but we don't know why nobody responded here. Therefore, the timeline is not going to work, but we still need to get an audit done. And as I've been talking to auditors, CPAs in the area, they explained to me that the audit we had done was a complete audit. It just maybe, I don't know if there was nobody really felt like it was a complete audit, but it was by definition a complete financial audit of the agency or of the corporation. So whether or not we pursue John Poole is really, I guess, up to the board. But at this point, he may be our only lead.
Was that, did they consider it a forensic audit?
No, I don't believe it was forensic. They just call it a full financial audit.
Okay.
So we'll get more information on that and feed it out to you and see what happens. Back in August, I did submit our annual report to the Tennessee Secretary of State. I registered myself as the registered agent, and so we are current on that. We're in the process of being current as soon as they finish their side of the paperwork. I have a list of sponsorships there. I don't need to go over that. It's kind of a slow season right now, just a couple fishing tournaments and people looking ahead to next year, but nothing exciting. Digital tracking information is there. Cameron and Maddie have been out doing lots of videos. If you subscribe to Visit Sumner County, you'll see lots of TikTok and Instagram and a lot of really, really fun, great videos promoting businesses, promoting destinations, promoting the county as a whole, promoting the fall season, everything. So The numbers are good. The only one we're disappointed in was the Douglas Comer House. Nobody really cares about
I
that.
shared that one. I had a lot more hits on that than I had on
Did you?
the apple and dove.
Well, good.
Yeah.
We were bummed about that. I included a picture of the display at the Sumner County, at the State Fair, and it was beautiful. It's well done. The ladies in the office put that together. I tried to get there, and I was late, stuck in traffic, and
Which is what happens when you go to the Tennessee State Fair.
Yes.
yeah.
In the Wilson counties.
But I did the honor of breaking it down and bringing it home. So. I've included here some data for you. I'd like to keep you all informed on what's happening out there in the tourism world. Tennessee tourism broke the $30 billion mark in 2023, and they are very proud of that. It's still the second largest industry in the state after agriculture, and there's a lot of highlights there. I'm not going to go over these. You can read them as well as I can. I did want to point out on the page 13 there, from Reuters, the travel industry will account for a record $1 out of every $10 spent globally in the world. That's an amazing statistic. And so our contribution to global GDP will increase from 12.1% from 2023 to $11.1 trillion. And that means 10% of the global GDP is part of, is a result of tourism. And that is a new high. It's a record, at least as long as they've been keeping records. One of the seminars I went to at the conference was kind of educating. This guy said, tourism is the oldest industry. If you think about it, man started making wheels, they started moving, they started always moving around. He goes, NASA, in his opinion, is a tourism agency. They're just trying to go somewhere further away. And he says, but people are stupid, and you have to tell them what tourism is all about, because think about it, even though they've had wheels since prehistoric times, they didn't put them on luggage until the 80s.
Yeah.
So,
Thank goodness.
I wanted to tell you a little bit about the philosophy of what we're doing. Today's visitors want two things when they travel, and that's seamless experience and customer service with a smile, which is harder to get. And part of our position, our responsibility as a DMO for Sumner County is to help the businesses in the county understand that and work together. As a business owner and myself over the years, I know that you're focused on your business, and it's hard to consider how my business impacts the guy down the road or the lady that runs this. And so our goal as a county entity is to help them understand it's got a flow and to help our visitors get that flow and have access to it very easily. So it sounds kind of frou-frou and West Coast, but we're trying to make it easy for our visitors to come here and to have the right kind of experience so they tell their friends about it. And
Does the chamber help with that though? Isn't that
we,
part of their
we are,
job? And
we are working in parallel with the chambers
Mhm.
because they are working to help their businesses improve and bring people to their to their city, their municipality. And our goal is the same, except we're trying to bring it from outside the county.
with that interconnectivity.
Yeah.
Where you say, oh, well, you've done this, so go do that. If you liked this, you'll love this.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love one of the things at the at this conference, they said, our job in tourism is not heads and beds, because that's where the money comes from, but it is leveraging tourism to improve the communities for our residents. I liked that. So it's a bigger picture. And so anyhow. And so one of the things, the last paragraph I put there, that we are starting to use the phrase, thank you for supporting tourism in Sumner County, whenever we talk to anybody here in the county, to put tourism in their minds and to help them understand what we do as a tourism entity. Again, at the conference, it was pretty funny when he said this, because people do not know what tourism does. In fact, your family probably doesn't know what tourism does. Like, you're right. My wife has no clue.
When I was teaching economics, I talk about different industries, I talk about tourism. And it's like, why would anybody come to Sumner County? And that's what most people look at it. Why would anybody come here? It's like, well, there's lots of reasons people come here, and I've pointed that out to them, talked to them about it, but the general public has no clue that we have any County tourism business.
And when but if they had that tax bill, they would notice.
Right.
And we're working to increase that number, so. Okay, one last thing I want to add, and I'm really excited about this. This is an opportunity that came to us that we've been working hard on. This is the 100th anniversary the coming year of the Grand Ole Opry. It is the 50th anniversary of the Sumner County Museum. As a result of that, there is, if you walk into the Sumner County Museum, and if you haven't done that, you should, because I have, and I'm the new guy. As you walk in, you will see this picture right here on the wall, right after you go into the museum. It's Dr. Humphrey Bate and the Possum Hunters.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah, Dr. Humphrey Bate and the Possum Hunters.
Well, they were a local band that formed, and they were the first string band to ever perform at the Grand Ole Opry.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah, and they're from Sumner County. Well, two of their descendants are still here in Sumner County, and they are still playing music. In fact, they have some of those original instruments that are in that picture. And they recently did a fundraiser for the museum and dressed up and played the music of the Possum Hunters. And this had such a wild review and positive impact that they went to our friends at Vol State, and I can't remember his name now. Steve something. He's the guy that does recording studio at Vol State, and approached him about making an album. Well, Steve, whose last name escapes me, I'm sorry, Steve, if you're watching.
Something like that?
Yeah, it's Steve's something. Apparently has a background with the Grammys, and his comment to this group was, "This is a Grammy award-winning album," before it's ever recorded, because of the historical value.
mm-hmm.
And combining that with the 100th anniversary of the Grand Ole Opry, we are going to, I've already talked to state tourism, and they're involved now, and we're going to talk more next week at the governor's conference on tourism, but we are putting pressure, if the right word, on the Grand Ole Opry to include this band in their 100th anniversary celebration, either on stage or at least on WSM radio. And we have approval from the owner of Dot Records, which still exists, at least in ownership, to record this album on that label.
And it's owned by a guy here in Gallatin.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And now this is when it gets really crazy. Gallatin was one of the first, I don't want to say the first because I'm still researching the real history, but there's a display at the museum about this. One of the first airmail drops in the world.
Mhm.
It was done from a balloon, a hot air balloon that came from Buffalo, New York. It was called the Buffalo Balloon. And they dropped a letter with a ribbon down into a field here in Gallatin. And in honor of that, the technicians involved in this recording have the intention, and they're still working through the details, so hopefully this can happen, to broadcast this album up to the moon and have it come back, and that will be the recording on the album. This will be the first album in history recorded from the moon
Okay.
in honor of that balloon drop.
Does it improve the sound quality,
Well-
or does it give it that right amount
I
of
don't
static?
know. I don't know. I can't sound like the old 45s right now.
The old 78s.
Yeah. I didn't want to date myself.
That's neat.
Anyhow, so this is a project that we are involved in, and I'm going to involve us financially. They've asked us, they've got some money coming from the Arts Commission or whatever it is, the county, and they've asked us for some additional funding to help print the albums. I don't know if that's the right word, but to make their LPs. They'll actually be
They're
LPs.
gonna, wow, they're actually gonna do LPs even.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, mine was big.
Vinyl, yes. It's not a huge number, but I'm going to ask the board if, I don't know where we'll be at the end of the year, but I'd like to take some of our leftover money from last year and kind of say, I want to be part of this project. Because the idea of bringing a Grammy home into Sumner County and having that to publicize, and on top of that, now I'm also working with the state to get a historical marker for the possum hunters.
Were they from Westmoreland or something out that way?
Well, I don't know exactly
page.
where, but we'll do that research, but
Yeah.
somewhere, because of the history involved. So my reason for evolving tourism is because it creates another reason to come to Sumner County. And that's my reason. It's not just the excitement of a Grammy or anything like that, but it's, from a tourism standpoint, it gives us another reason to bring people here. So,
Oh, I love that.
yeah, I'm kind of excited about this.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Humphrey Bate and his possum hunters.
Now, add to that, the museum has a cemetery tour every year.
Yes.
And this year, the theme is music, so it's gonna be, that people are portraying musicians
Mhm.
and singers and such, so that's the theme of the cemetery tour this year. So, yeah. The first Saturday in October.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. And Andrew is, I think, one of our guides, our tour guide from the
Oh, okay.
Douglas Clark. He'll be one of the cemetery guides. Okay, that's my report. Any questions I can answer?
Oh, occupancy tax. Where are we?
It's looking good.
Yeah.
So our next meeting is
Still up.
November 19th at 4, it says 4, but don't we meet at 4:30?
Well,
Yeah,
my
that's,
confusion, really,
I was
I think
panicking.
last month we
the
said 4.
minutes state 4 o'clock.
Right.
The third Tuesday at 4 o'clock.
So it's at 4, because I was
Yes,
panicking,
ma'am.
I was like.
I thought we
And
had
when I sent the
changed
email
it to
today, I said
4:30.
This,
4:30.
today's got changed, it got changed from today, but
But if you go to the county calendar, it shows 4:30
It shows 4.
on the calendar.
Oh,
For
okay.
today, it showed 4:30. But we've always met at 4.
Yeah, I wondered,
well, I think 4:30.
I thought, I didn't remember us changing it. I remembered us discussing it, but I remember the date more than the time.
For years, we met at 4:30.
Oh, did we move it back to
And
4?
at some point, it got moved to 4.
Yeah.
We've met at multiple different times.
I just know that
4:30
it's
is
the,
probably better for most people.
At
Yeah.
the July
Yeah.
16th meeting, there was a motion that it be on the third Tuesday at 4 p.m.
so it is 4 o'clock, so we kept it at 4. Yeah. So what do y'all wanna do? We have a quorum. Actually, I keep, keeping it at 4 is better because Deborah can come.
Yeah.
She's on planning.
But isn't it 4 to 5 though, is their work session?
When they have one.
They have one,
They don't have them every month.
okay, so.
I mean,
I
for somebody who has a 9 to 5 job, they're not gonna be able to be on this board.
Now, I do have a job like that, but I can arrange my time.
Right.
But if 4 o'clock works for everybody, I'm open to that. I mean, it doesn't matter, I'll have to reschedule, I'll have to start early.
For people who are working, 4:30 probably works better than 4, but I'm retired, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, so, I have no problem, I can always scale back my.
Why did we change it though? Is that in the minutes?
There was some discussion about it. I don't think I captured all the discussion,
Why don't
but
we put that on old business? Okay, if we make it, can we just make our next meeting at 4 o'clock? Or can we should leave it at 4 if it's in the minutes. I don't know why today's was at 4:30. Did David have something to do with that?
no, that was my mistake.
That was us.
That was
Oh.
me. Wasn't,
So
it
it
was
worked for
me.
me,
It
because
all
I
me.
was like running behind.
Aren't y'all's, what are y'all's office hours?
We close at 4:30, but there's still someone there. We can,
Oh,
doesn't matter to
I
us
think
what
they
time.
were always at 4.
The only issue with me, the later meeting, is the people who work here at this building.
Yeah.
Because the building closes at 4, the
Yeah,
offices
they don't
close
wanna
at
be here.
4:30, and they don't want us here any later than necessary, because they don't get paid overtime, they just stay here until they close the building, so.
Yeah.
Meeting 4, that would probably get us out by 5 at the latest, I would think, for most meetings.
I have no problem with 4 o'clock.
I'm fine with it as well.
Are we
Or
all
that's
agreed?
probably
4
why we
o'clock?
put it in the minutes.
Let's say 4 o'clock.
You tell how much I worry
I
about it.
second that.
2 seconds.
As long as it's not 8
I
o'clock in
don't
the
think it
morning,
needs
I
a
don't
motion
care.
because it's already.
It's already in the minutes, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I-
The
Okay.
next,
I'll
next.
get it down on my calendar. for
I-
that.
Alright.
Just for clarification's sake, today's agenda does say 4 o'clock. I don't know if you want to change that to 4:30 for the record.
Yes. Again,
She did change it on that last thing that you sent.
Right, today's, yeah.
I think it changed 3 times.
So we're keeping it,
Third time's the
we're
charm.
keeping it at
Date
4
daylight
o'clock.
savings.
I understand.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
so,
that happens in November.
so the last motion is to adjourn. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Let's go.
Thank you, everyone.
So efficient.
Okay.
Now, this data thing, Jeff, this data thing we're getting, what does it do about